Welcome to another jam-packed episode of the Sports Card Nation podcast, the show that brings you all the important news from the sports card hobby. We'll have some debates, opinions, new release schedules, and info. Plus, we'll also discuss the sports that so directly affect the hobby we all love. We'll mix in an occasional gambling tip or two, throw in some life stuff, and bring you great guest interviews from the hobby and sports dignitaries. And if you're good listeners, we may even give away a few things now and then. Now, here's the guy who wanted the cards and not the gum, John Newman.
Welcome to episode 15, another packed show. Some great guests. We have Ryan Yancey, card connector from Twitter. You know, in this hobby, let's be real, this hobby can be a selfish hobby, kind of every man, every person out for themselves type of thing. And Ryan, I'm going to have him on, you'll hear him. Ryan is one of those unselfish people that's rare in the hobby. And he's doing some things that are a little different. I took notice and I reached out to him, and he's going to talk about them on the show. I think you'll find him pretty interesting, pretty refreshing, and very unselfish, and a definite advocate for this hobby, and something we need to see more people kind of take his lead. The poll results for the American Alliance Football Tops poll that I put up on the Twitter page asking you guys, will you buy this new product, is finished. I'll discuss those findings, those results, and what I voted for. And just when you thought it was safe after the PMG Jordan sold for $350K, literally days later, a Tom Brady Rookie Contenders Auto Rookie, $400K. So big money. Look through your bargain boxes. Maybe you got one of these things hiding. I know Tom Brady said he's going to look in his basement for some of his own rookie cards, so maybe you have some too. So without further ado, let's get this party started. We love hearing from our listeners. Without you, there is no us. We encourage your thoughts and feedback, and we do care about what you think. We encourage you to reach out to us at any of our social media accounts, and they are as follows. You can get a hold of us on Instagram at Sports Card Nation Podcast. That's all one word, Sports Card Nation Podcast. Or our Twitter, which is at Sports Card Natty1, Sports Card NATI1. Or if you go to Facebook, you can search Sports Card Nation Podcast. That's 4 words, and you'll find us. Or you can email the show at sportscardnationpc@gmail.com. Also, please give us a follow. We really do appreciate that. Thank you. Check out our supporter, Break Stuff Market, your new innovative and global marketplace for trading cards, stickers, and sports memorabilia. They have some of the lowest fees on the market at only 4%. All their transactions are secure via PayPal and Stripe. It's easy to set up from any device, and they have some of the highest community and security standards to avoid being scammed. Don't wait. Join Break Stuff Market now. Go to https://breakstuff.market. All right, it's time for What's Crackin'. All right, time for the release calendar for this week in baseball. On March 6th, the Heritage, which is actually out today here on February 27th, but the blaster boxes will come out on March 6th. Along with that, out comes the Donruss 2019 baseball release from Panini. And speaking of the Heritage, I do have some of that coming, and I have some of the Donruss coming as well. And I pre-ordered them together, so I'm not going to get the Heritage until the Donruss ships out, because I didn't have them. I had them on the same order, so they're going to come together. So I'm going to be a little bit late to the Heritage party, but I've seen some of the stuff being opened online. It looks pretty good. Something about them 1970 gray bordered cards. I actually think the Heritage looks better than the original series, if that's possible. So I'm anxious to open some of that. I'll have to wait, and I'll kind of do a double banger with the Heritage and the Donruss. All right, on to basketball side of the release schedule. Also on March 6th, 2018-19, Panini Select Basketball. The first off the line is obviously already out, but it'll officially be released on March 6th. On the football end of things, you're going to have Panini Encased 2018, also released on March 6th. So March 6th, big release day. And so let's talk about the poll. I ran a poll on Twitter, and I basically asked everyone if, Topps is making that American Alliance of Football product, their first football product in some years. It's not the NFL. And I asked you, would you buy it? Being it is Topps, it is football, would you buy it? What are you going to do? And I made the poll for a week. The results are in. I'm going to go over those now. We had, I think, over 300-something votes, if my memory serves me right, when all of a sudden we're done. And the winner, the leading vote, was no at 41%. So 41% of you said, no, I'm not going to buy the product. 37% of you said you would. There was 15% that said, I'm going to look at it first before deciding. And then the remaining 7% was, I don't do football. So that left, after the I don't do football, 93%, 41% said they won't buy it. 37% said they would. Initially, my thoughts were I probably wouldn't buy any. I'll probably walk that back a little bit and say I kind of, I wouldn't buy a lot of it. If it's carried at Walmart or Target and they, have individual packs or hanger packs, I might grab a couple here and there at different times. But I'm definitely not going to open a lot of it. I'm not going to buy a box of it. And to be blunt honest with you, the main reason I wouldn't personally, being a football fan, I've watched the games. The games are actually very entertaining. The league's actually pretty good. It's better than I thought it was going to be. But I just think the player personnel that's in the product is, to me, is not going to carry that product. Everyone was, Christian Hackenberg's going to, revitalize his career, and his team's 0-3 at the time of this recording. He's not playing well. Trent Richardson's probably your league MVP, highly regarded when he came out of Alabama. Didn't have success in the NFL, got a lazy tag. But he's your MVP in the AAF. Will earn him another chance at the NFL? I think it might. He's got to prove himself motivated, but I don't think he's going to be a viable NFL back with a great career. So really, is there a Kurt Warner in this league? Someone we don't know a ton about that's talented, that will kind of get discovered after the fact and have a Hall of Fame, Super Bowl MVP type career like Kurt Warner did? I'll be honest with you, I don't think so. And I think that's sort of what this product needs. I think the face of this product right now that we know of, it might be Trent Richardson. And let's be real, are you buying a product because Trent Richardson's in it? I can answer that and probably tell you most likely not. So I might pick up a couple packs on a whim just to open them, just for fun, just the fact I'm watching it. But I'm definitely not going to open a lot. And it sounds like with a 41% vote, a lot of people aren't going to buy this product. So it'll be interesting to see how it actually does, how much of it gets ripped. Even on the braking side, are breakers going to carry this product? Are people going to buy in? And what's going to come out of it that's even, right home worthy? So we'll see. So last week, we all know you had to be living under a rock if you didn't hear about the PMG, Emerald Jordan bringing $350K on eBay. And no sooner did that auction close, another record-setting, fairly recent card, if you want to call it modern, the 2000 Contenders Rookie Auto Brady card brought over $400K. I believe it was sold by Evan Mathis, former NFL player. I think his handles Cardology on social media. And at this rate, he's probably made more selling cards than maybe he has playing in the NFL. And Tom Brady, this thing brought so much money, even Tom Brady himself took notice, and he posted on his social media, kind of jokingly, he's going to go look in his basement and see what he has kind of lying around. So if there's an influx of Tom Brady rookies into the market, you can blame Tom Brady. But, I remember back in 2000, from a personal point of view, I was a dealer at that point, like I am now. And, we all know Drew Bledsoe was the starter. Tom Brady wasn't highly lauded coming out of Michigan. He barely, he didn't even start there. He was in a quarterback battle there. And so he really obviously wasn't expected to be what we know him as today. And, Drew Bledsoe got hurt and Tom Brady came in, and the rest is kind of history. But I had a ton of Tom Brady rookies at various times, different products, different brands. And I remember, just Patriots, selling them to Patriots fans. And even the Patriots fans who were buying them from me weren't buying them because they thought he was going to be what he turned out to be. They were just buying them because he was a Patriot, and they were collecting Patriot cards. And I just, if I knew then what I knew now, I'd probably be a millionaire. That's how many at different times I had that I just sold for really not much at all. We could always do that. Hindsight's 20/20. Back in the day, I must have sold 60 93 SP Derek Jeters. None of them graded, but I definitely had some what would have been graded specimens. I sold those pretty cheap. I always, being here in New York, I always viewed Jeter as kind of being overrated because he was a Yankee. If he would have been on another team with the stats he put up, he wouldn't have been as highly accoladed. So I always sold my Jeter rookies fairly quickly to the local Yankee fans and whatnot. So I know I sold probably between 40 and 60 93 SP Jeters back in the day for nowhere near what they bring now. So, you always have those cards where if you could have a do-over, or if you knew then what you know now, you love to do it differently. What cards do fit that bill for you that you had a lot of, you sold probably lower than you like to think about now for what that card is? Reach out to us on social media. Tell us what those cards are. We'd love to hear those stories. For me, it's Brady rookies and the 93 SP Jeters. The show has grown, and we are very appreciative of that fact. If you are a business, a dealer, a breaker that would like to partner with us, please reach out to us at one of our social medias or email the show at sportscardnationpc@gmail.com. That's sportscardnationpc@gmail.com. We have many affordable options to promote and highlight the services you provide. We look forward to hearing from you and collaborating with you in the future. All right, we have a special guest on the Sports Card Nation podcast guest line. He goes by the name of Ryan Yancey, better known as Card Connector on Twitter. And I first noticed Ryan, Card Connector, on my sports card side of Twitter. And I saw all these retweets and cards for sale. And it was kind of different, not your average, sale post. And I kind of took notice, which I think was the point of why that was done in the first place. And then I noticed he had done, I don't want to give it all away, we're going to have him on, he can explain it better than me, but then he did a thing called a hobby train, where everyone retweets it and follows those that retweets, and it was a great way to, community-wise in the hobby, kind of get your follower list up, more of an audience for your trades and sales. And I thought, man, that's great. When I first got on Twitter on the sports card side of it, I kind of ran into that issue too. How do you get your posts seen by more people interested in it? And so when I saw this, I said, man, that's pretty ingenious. So I said, I'm gonna talk to this guy. I didn't know his name was Ryan at that point. I obviously found that out, and it's really cool. And and getting to know him a little bit. Besides being pretty ingenious, he's very intelligent and a good guy. He's served in the military, so I want to thank him for that. And at this point, I'm going to bring him on. Ryan, welcome.
Thank you, John. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to be on your show. I've watched or listened to a lot of your episodes, and I'm excited for the future of where you're going in the podcast.
Oh, I appreciate you saying that. And I know we spoke off the air before we went on. And one of the goals of the show, like I told you, was when I see to highlight some of the positive things. There's not enough of that going on. Plenty of the other side of that coin with bad stuff. And I want, I want to report on both. I mean, I'm not going to bury my head in the sand and like that the bad stuff doesn't happen. But I think you gotta, not enough people are highlighting always the good things, whether it be charitable things or in your case, bringing a hobby community together a lot closer and that feeling of community. So when I saw that, that's when I reached out to you and I said, man, I got to find out what this guy's all about. And in talking to you, my intuition was right. So I think you're, doing a good thing, and it's great. So let me ask you this, you told me you were going to, I told you to save it till I actually talked to you, because you said your background into getting in a hobby was maybe a little different than most. So what do you mean? How did that start?
Well, honestly, when I started, my gateway to trading cards was it probably around the mid-'80s, and it was the wildlife treasury cards, the ones that everybody had in the green little box.
I remember those, yeah.
Yeah, and I actually traded those with friends. I needed a certain animal for a certain animal. And that's how my trading actually began. I remember as a kid trading those, and growing up, it was Cubs in the area that I was at. Mm-hmm. But it just transformed from the wildlife treasury cards over into sports, and then it went from there.
That's cool. Yeah, that is a first. I'll hand you that. So. When you first started, you said you were being from that area. You were a Cubs fan, so that was where your interest took you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm around off campus of Notre Dame in Indiana, so I've been a Cubs, Hoosiers, the Notre Dame. I'm Irish. This is a big area for me. I love this area. So, yeah, those are my teams. Bears, Cubs, Indiana Hoosiers, college basketball, all day.
Yeah. So, I know, and I asked again. I spoke to you off the air, but I want people to hear it. I know you have a connection with Buck City Brakes. They're great. They do a lot of stuff for the hobby as well. I love to eventually maybe have those guys on. I know they're busy, but as we all are. But if maybe get a moment of their time at some point. But you told me something that I thought was really cool off the air with your connection to them. If you want to share with everyone else, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, with Buck City Brakes, Chris and Adam that run Buck City Brakes. I'd say probably 3 or 4 months ago, it was just a down time for me, and there was just, who do I turn to, and I reached out to them. And when I talked to Chris and I talked to Adam, they talked back. They listened to what I had to say when it came to ideas, how I felt, and they ran with ideas that I had. Unbelievable guys. They're breakers, but they are in the people business. They just happen to do brakes.
Yeah,
that's the way I look at it. These guys are friends first. So I owe Chris and Adam everything when it comes to what I'm doing. I'm a monster. I'm a Frankenstein, and there's a lot of people in the hobby that created me, and those two guys started this creation that I am.
Yep. And that's great. And like you said, I don't know them personally. I've seen them. I've heard them on shows. I know they do a lot of charity stuff themselves. They've even said, we're just two guys, and like you highlighted, they're people first, and being a breaker, there's a lot of them. Let's be honest, and they're kind of becoming. I don't want to say it like this, but a dime a dozen. So the ones that are really good at it, but bring more than what just the break-in is about, stand out, and they definitely fit that bill. They're very community based. They give back, and they're
for how much they give back each year. How does a breaker even make money when it comes to Buck City Brakes? They do free case breaks every 1,000 followers they have.
Yeah.
They're not in it for the money. They want the people, and they listen to people, and for that, I absolutely love those guys to death. I plan on hanging out with them this summer, doing a little golf, and that was. That's the main thing, is trying to get together with these people that we've met on Twitter and actually doing something in person and hanging out, creating real friendships.
Yeah, and that's the thing I think sometimes, Ryan gets lost in the hobby is the hobby's great. It's awesome that we all share that thread, but we're also more than that. We do other things, and when you can share multiple things, like you said, if you go golfing with them and it's more than just cards. That might be something you share a passion for or a love for, but we're more than that.
Absolutely.
One of the things I tried to do really in the start of this year is actually spend less time with the card. Not that I care less, but kind of just devote more, spread my time around a little bit more wisely. I think sometimes when you spend too much time doing one thing or one particular thing too long, you almost don't like it or don't like it in the same vein as you once did. So, that balance is exactly sometimes what you need to appreciate it even more. And there's people, I'm sure you know them just as well as I do. It's like they do the cards like almost 24/7, and like I know if I did that, that would probably be the end. For me, I just would be so frustrated with it. So that balance you want to find, and I think people don't realize how much they have in common until they find that.
Correct. I completely agree with you.
Yeah. So. That's great. I'm going to try to have them on at some point. Put in a good word for me. I'm going to, when I promote the show, I'm going to tag them. I do follow them. I definitely want them to, hear you, say those nice things you did about them, which are obviously true. I do know of them. But more now with you, Ryan. How so? Kind of give me the birth of how you even like decided to do that. Like, hey, I'm going to retweet, and how this whole thing kind of came about.
It really it started with that, with Buck City Breaks helping me out and listening. It was the reinvention of me.
Yeah.
I gained confidence, and I said, you know what, I have 4,000 followers. This was October time. We did a charity break for Kid Doherty.
Mm-hmm.
I had like 3,000 or 4,000 followers in October, and I said, you know what, how do I utilize these followers? It seemed like the community on Twitter, from my eyes, from my standpoint, was starting to become status quo. There was just a small group of guys that bought and sold and traded with each other, and I said, I want it to grow. I want to do better, and I just want to do my part.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started actually digging extremely deep into trying to find hobby accounts. I would go to every single Twitter account that was a professional team.
Yep.
Like the Chicago Bulls, the Los Angeles Rams. And I would go to their Twitter pages, and I would scroll down and look for actual hobby accounts and look at their pages and say, this is a hobby account. And I would follow that account.
Yep.
In hopes that they would follow me back.
Yep.
There was just a lot of research that went through it. And then, when I started trying to figure out a name put together, I started telling people, I'm saying, hey, retweet. If you're having problems and you're selling cards, you have, 20, 25 followers, let me help you. Let me retweet it. Let me try to find people that I know to help you sell some cards and gain some followers. And that was really how it all started.
Yeah, and you did it, like you said, from the ground level, even going to teams' Twitter handles and finding people there. So yeah, I mean, you didn't take the easy route, as they say. You went right to the ground level to do it. So that, to me, that just shows you, the determination and the mindset, to take on a venture like that.
I appreciate it.
And so how many? I didn't check. So how many are you up to at this point?
Well, as of last night, I just hit 10,000.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm doing a few giveaways, and these giveaways that I'm doing are just based off of pure appreciation for the awesome comments that I'm getting from hundreds and hundreds of people that are in the hobby through my direct messages and publicly, saying how many followers are getting, how much easier it is for them to buy, sell, trade, and the friendships. That's the key. I'm getting messages of how many people are making new friends.
Yeah.
And I see more people buying cards for other people than I've ever seen before, just a random act of kindness. I'm seeing more people talk stories of, hey, I didn't even know you were 20 miles away from me. Let's meet up. Let's have a swap meet, and let's trade cards like we did in the 80s.
Yeah.
There was a conversation yesterday of two people that didn't even know that, and I was sitting back watching the conversation, and look, this isn't stressful at all to me. I absolutely enjoy it. There's 2,000 or 2,500 notifications my phone or my computer gets a day, and I get 80 direct messages, and it could go from anywhere from somebody that's brand new on Twitter that needs help with starting PayPal, and I'll walk them through it so they can get an account started, to anything, to getting pricing. I will do everything I can for every single hobby follower, and I am on that mission to help grow. I felt like the community was status quo, and I felt like it needed to be more fun. When I retweet so many retweets a day, there's people that don't even like a specific card. or a team, but they'll buy that card because it's so cool and they didn't even know it was
Yeah,
around.
well, you're being, you're exposing more people to certain things they may be not even, aware of. I think, and what you said there, Ryan, with helping someone set up their PayPal account. I mean, that's being an advocate of the hobby. And there's a lot of people, let's be real, that just want to sell or just want to, make money. They don't want to reach out or help someone. And doing that is keeping someone in the hobby. It might relate to a future sale, if that's the case down the line. And even if it doesn't, it's still just being a good steward and an advocate. And it's refreshing because we need more of those people. And the fact that you're doing it is hopefully, it that stuff can get contagious, and you hope that's what happens.
Well, it is. There's many people that are actually, there's a little bit of a cycle that I'm starting to notice. I've been doing this for like 2 to 3 months now, and I'm noticing the ones that have went from 50 followers to 800 are actually taking on their own people. They're bringing in people from Facebook and other places and saying, hey, Card Connector, can you help me retweet this brand new guy in the hobby who has 22 followers? They are actually starting to do what I started, and it's becoming contagious, like you said.
Yeah.
People are doing more giveaways. People are doing a lot more stuff for each other. That's what I care about is gaining real friendships, people talking with each other. And doing, sure, obviously I want people to get more personal cards, their PC cards, and some people need the PayPal.
Yeah.
So I'm doing everything I can every day to make that happen for everybody.
Yeah, and it's it's funny. I see all the I'm like, man, how does this guy have enough time in a day? So it's really a testament to you to do that and be an advocate for the hobby. The hobby needs positive advocates, Ryan, and kudos to you. Not that you need to hear it from me, but I definitely think want to tell you that we need more of that. And like you said, you're kind of leading by example, so more people are kind of taking up that torch and running with it as well. And if one person becomes two, and the old adage, 2 becomes 4, and so on and so on, the hobby's just going to be all the more better for it.
Absolutely, 100%, completely agree.
Talk about the hobby train. I talked to you a little bit off the air and kind of got a background on it. But obviously you can explain it. When I saw it, it was just kind of cool. I like some of the graphics you use with a train coming, and like you said, it's a great way for someone who maybe doesn't have a ton of followers early on to kind of build up that following, and everyone kind of helps everyone out. So kind of talk about how you kind of came up with it, how it kind of, where it went from and how it started and where it is now.
Well, with the hobby train, like we mentioned, there's been other trains out there, the MMA type trains, but they're mostly just follow for follows.
Yeah.
And it's people that just want to get their follower counts up. And I wanted to design the same type of concept, but I wanted people, and I try to make in every post, I wanted people to be aware of the retweets, look at their profile, and make sure you follow somebody that looks like that they would be in the hobby, somebody that you could actually have a conversation with, somebody that's not looking for prizes, things like that.
Yeah.
So, again, when it came to finding people with only 20 to 30 followers, the hobby account the hobby train just popped in my brain. I wanted to make it fun. I wanted to have cool pictures on there, and just be the hype man of that train.
Yeah.
And I'll throw in a charity. I've thrown in signatures for soldiers and had Tim on there once, and we've raised money. So the idea of the train is you retweet the train and you follow everybody that's hobby related in that train, which will gain you a lot of hobby followers.
Yeah.
And when I do that retweet, having 10,000 followers, there's going to be a lot of people that, when you have 20 or 30, that they'll gain a lot in one night. The accounts that have 3,000 or 4,000 already may gain less. But it's mainly focused for the guys that just can't sell, the guys and the girls. There's a lot of women on there that are selling too. And it's for both that just can't sell their cards as easily as a lot of other people are. So this is connecting everybody. It's making the family bigger on Twitter, and it's creating a lot more friendships. And that's really key, is the friendship.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. Here's the great thing. It costs absolutely nothing to do it.
Nothing.
So no charge. And like you said, it brings, it's not just the cards, but the community, friendships. You brought up example. Someone didn't even realize they were that close to the other person within 20 miles. And maybe there's a long-time friendship that gets formed from that. So you just don't know. And if it's one story like that, to me, I think you'll agree. To me, it's worth it. Even if that's the one thing that comes out of it. So
if somebody can gain one follower out of a hobby train, I'll take that over no followers from doing nothing.
Yep, no doubt. And it just, like I said in some of my previews of this appearances, it's making that community smaller, but smaller sometimes is not always good, but smaller in a good way, meaning you're bringing all these people from all over the world, the United States, and closer. With social media, that's we can talk about all the bad things about social media, but one of the good things is it's that access is a lot easier than ever before.
I completely agree.
Well, Ryan, I want to thank you. I'm going to have you on again, no doubt. Especially anything you want to promote anytime. I consider you a friend now. I hope you feel the same. I'll have you on. We'll highlight that. I'm going to give you the floor here to kind of to close it out. Anything you want to say, where people can reach out to you, anything you got planned you want to share, the time is yours.
Okay. Well, I have a lot of giveaways coming up, and the main thing is these are all pieces that are appreciation for everybody else. I've got a 10.5K giveaway for everybody that follows me, follows Buck City Breaks, and what that does is it's going to be the wildlife illustration cards, and those people I want to give to somebody who has kids and they can share that. And then I've got Titanic relics that are going to be given away.
Wow.
I've got 1985 Goonies autographs that I'm going to be giving away. And these are just all pieces that I want to bring back to people from their childhood.
Yep.
And give back. So those are some of the things. Buck City Breaks, just please give them a follow at Buck City Breaks. It's that easy. You could follow me at Card Connector, all one word. There's so many people in the hobby that I just can't name one. I would feel like I left somebody out.
Yeah.
There's so many people in the hobby that are helping me make what's going on a lot easier. So just kudos to everybody that's close. If you follow me, you see who I'm talking to. Everybody in the community that's helped me, I really appreciate it. And tonight I'm having a giveaway for a Albert Pujols on-card flawless autograph from a guy named Matt who actually gave me a card out of nowhere, one of my, I call Mount Rushmore cards, and gave me one of my favorite cards of all time just out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And so I did the return. He's going to give away a card of mine. So he's picking a winner tonight. And it's amazing group. So please follow Buck City Breaks. Please follow Card Connector. And also follow Signatures for Soldiers. Follow Tim. They do a lot of things, as you mentioned, and I appreciate it. I was in the military, and I love the stuff that Tim's doing. So
yeah, it's if you heard that show, I didn't serve myself personally, but I do come from a military family. I think sometimes we forget about them, or, it's like I told Tim, we got Veterans Day, Memorial Day, and everyone posts then, and then that day's over and everyone kind of goes back to normal. Serving, people who are serving currently, who have served, that's a 24/7 everyday job, and it's not 2 days a year like Veterans and Memorial Day. And I think sometimes we take that fact for granted, and we think, well, because we post a flag on a social media 2 days a year, we're doing our part. And that's, to me, I'll say it might not be the nicest thing, that isn't doing enough. There's other things you can do. It's an everyday thing. Donate to a military cause, wounded warriors, signatures for soldiers. There's multiple, but give back, because what we get to do every day, cards being one of them, as a hobby that we enjoy, is from those who serve, yourself included, to make those sacrifices so we can enjoy those things, not 2 days a year, but rather 365 days a year.
Great. Absolutely. Thank you.
No, you're welcome. So, Ryan, Card Connector, I also love that name. I mean, it sums it really all up. It's just connecting everyone, with cards being the focal point or the home base point. And what you're doing, Ryan, is tremendous. Keep it up. I talking to you, I know you got onward and upward, and more plans coming. So I'm on board. I'm going to see what I can get together here. I'll get you something, and you can run in a additional giveaway as well.
John, thank you, man. I absolutely loved your show. I loved talking with you. Again, everybody that follows me, please follow John. This is an unbelievable podcast. I appreciate it. I consider you a friend now. And thank you for having me on.
Oh, I appreciate those kind words. Like I said, it's about promoting the good in the hobby. You're a big part of that, as well as everyone else I've had on. I'm just trying to do even a small part, and if that's the case, that's what I want to do. I appreciate you saying that. And like I said, Ryan, this won't be a one-time deal. We're definitely gonna have you on again.
For sure. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Ryan.
Have a good night.
All right. Last week on the show, we gave away the keyword to win a Greg Maddux 2017 Stadium Club Gold Refractor case hit card. And we had some entries that said the word ace. The word was ace. And we had about 20-something people submit the word ace, and I randomized that 20 people, and the winner, who sent in the answer via email through our email address, is Todd Stovall. Todd Stovall. So if Todd Stovall, you're listening here to episode 15, you are the winner of the Maddux. You have 1 week to contact me via either email like you did originally, or any of the social medias, instant message, private message. Give me your mailing address, and we'll get this Maddux out to you in the mail. If for some reason Todd doesn't get a hold of us in the next week, he's got 7 days. If someone knows him and wants to be nice and give him the heads up, I'm sure he'd appreciate that. But if Todd doesn't get a hold of us within a week, we'll put that right back in the prize pool and give it away again somewhere down the line. So, Todd Stovall, you're on the clock. For over 25 years, Newman Sports Cards has set the standard in customer service in the sports card industry, including same-day shipping. They've added supplies and some wax products to their already great arsenal of rookie cards, game-used cards, autos, and graded cards. Check their fully searchable website out by Googling Newman Sports Cards. It's the first thing that comes up. Click on that link. Or follow them on the social medias at Newman_sportscards at Instagram or at Twitter at Nooms Sports Cards. Or give them a call or text at 315-491-0239. It's time for From the Box Seat. A lot of sports news to cover, so let's get to it. The saga is over. Bryce Harper and the Phillies just got married, and that's a great analogy. 13 years, $330 million, a lot of money, but we knew that was going to happen. But let's talk about the years. 13 years, that's why I played that Wedding March song. That's more than most marriages last. So this should be interesting to see. He's 26. He'll be 39 when that contract is up, if he lasts that long. We'll see how that plays out. I think it's a great move by the Phillies. I hate to say that as a Mets fan, but it is going to attract other players that maybe potentially want to come and play there and build a real winning team. They're pretty good now. Probably going to get better. I see Chris Bryant maybe coming over from Chicago. I don't think there's been rumors that Chicago's looked at ways of moving him. So, players hear that stuff. When you hear a team trying to shop you, it usually doesn't sit well. It doesn't help much when it comes to the loyalty department. So I don't think Chris Bryant and the Cubs are married to each other. We'll stay on that marriage theme. So I can see him exiting the Cubs somehow, whether it be trade or when his contract is up. And as we all know, him and Bryce are buddies, so maybe he'll be Philly bound to add to that lineup. Staying on the baseball theme, I know it's just spring training, but some guys are tearing it up. Ahmed Rosario, Pete Alonso in Mets camp, as I follow that closely, being a Mets fan. And another guy I've noticed has really been crushing the ball in spring training. It's a guy that was a heralded prospect, although he's been on 3 or 4 teams. Still very young player, struggled last year. Many thought he should have went to AAA, but the Marlins stuck with him. This spring he's ripping the cover off the ball, and he's probably close to finding himself in the commons boxes or the discount rack as a prospect. But don't be so fast to throw those cards in the discount rack. Lewis Brinson is crushing the ball here in spring. I think he's got 3 or 4 home runs and just really looks like a different player. Again, it's spring training. This happens every year with players. Guys will tear it up in spring, and then when it really counts, the story changes. Let's be honest with spring training. While it's obviously good to perform and win a job and put yourself in a good light, the quality of pitching obviously in spring training camps is not the same as once all those cuts and maneuvers are made. So a lot of this production is coming against pitchers that are going to be at single, double A potentially, not make the ball clubs. So you got to take it with a grain of salt. But it is nice to see someone young like Lewis Brinson that a lot of people kind of gave up on already, even though he is young, because he's kind of been talked about for a few years. It's nice to see someone like that maybe turning that corner. And that's the one thing I look forward to every baseball season when it comes time is the storylines, is seeing which of these young players is going to step up, resurrect maybe when people already moved on from them, and the reverse side of that coin, what prospect is going to disappoint. I think Yoan Moncada falls into that category. I think this is the year Yoan's got to either, put up or shut up, as they say. This will determine, I think, even in the White Sox eyes, whether he's going to be the guy they envisioned or a failure and someone they have to move on from and sort of give up on. So he did play better in the second half last year, so we'll see if that trend continues. Ahmed Rosario, being a Mets fan, I'll speak with a little more knowledge than this. He slow start last year and then picked it up in the second half, and he's off to an early great start in spring. Is he going to live up to the hype, or will the Mets' eyes turn to Andres Gimenez and that next group of rookies coming up through the ranks? So, Ahmed's on the clock as far as what kind of player he's going to be. And there are a lot of stories around spring training camps for a lot of the teams. Kyle Tucker in Houston is a kid I like. He did struggle in his call-up last year, but long-term, I do like him. And there's a lot of stories like that. Vlad Guerrero Jr., Eloy Jimenez, Fernando Tatis Jr. Some of those guys I think aren't going to break camp with the big club. Some might. And even the ones that don't probably will be soon called up to see what they got. So, baseball's in the air. One of my favorite time of years. Here in the Northeast, it's kind of an indicator that we're towards the tail end of winter and spring's on its way. So one of my favorite time of years. Now that the Harper saga is over, we can kind of just look at the play on the field even more. I think now, too, with Harper signing, I think the rest of those dominoes are going to fall in place. We forget it kind of was dominated, that free agency was dominated by Harper and Machado, and we forget there's some other players that are still unsigned. Adam Jones, Dallas Keuchel, and Craig Kimbrell, and others I'm forgetting to mention. But now that the big guys are off the board, I think those guys will settle in. I'm going to predict Adam Jones to the Giants. Their outfield is not great. They went after Bryce Harper, even made a secondary push late. And that's the other thing I'm hearing, is that Bryce Harper took a little bit less money to go to Philly. He had some bigger offers, but he chose Philly. He didn't lose money, don't get me wrong, at 13 for $330. Don't cry for him, Argentina, but he did. That wasn't the highest offer on the table, if you believe his agent, Scott Boras. So he didn't take the highest offer. He took a lot of money to the place he wanted to play. Scott Boras said he wanted to play in one city for the rest of his career. So we'll see how that pans out. I guess he plans on retiring at 39 with that statement. But yeah, I know the deal. He can sign another contract and definitely close out his career as a Philly. So all the Washington fans will be burning jerseys, I guess, and a lot of boos. And he's kind of stayed in division, which is interesting. So he's going to play against the Nationals quite a bit. Looks like the Nationals are going with, obviously, the youth movement, especially in the outfield. They'll probably go Robles and Soto. There's another storyline in itself. Will Soto repeat the performance he had as a rookie? He kind of makes me a little bit nervous. I don't know if he's that player he played like. I think he caught a little bit of lightning in the bottle, but the talent is there. Is this the year Victor Robles is ready to stay up with the big club and make a name for himself? So we'll see. They're definitely going to be a younger team, even though Bryce Harper's only 26. They're even getting younger now with his departure. And the veteran face on that ball club now really that's still performing. I don't consider it Ryan Zimmerman, but now it's Trey Turner. And Trey Turner's a guy I like as far as hobby love goes. He hits home runs, steals bases, and to me his stuff's undervalued. So I'm a guy that has a lot of his stuff for that reason, but we'll see what impact Harper's departure has on Trey Turner's, not only his stats, but how he performs and in his card market as well. He was kind of always overshadowed by Harper, and now he may be overshadowed less. Yes, Soto and Robles are both hobby darlings too, but Harper's a mega talent that just swallows everyone else up when it comes to the hobby. So we'll see how this all plays out. Again, that's one of the reasons I love the baseball season and that sort of thing. Going to football, Kyler Murray won't be thrown at the Combine. Combine starts, you're hearing this broadcast, the Combine starts Friday. So chances are it's already started when you're hearing this. I'm a huge football guy, as you know. So the Combine to me is a big deal. It's something I look forward to every year. My wife even gets mad at me because I'll watch the same thing twice. She'll say, "You've seen this already." And here I am just locked in watching it again. Wondering how high of a draft pick the Steelers are going to get. That's my team. They're at 20. We all know the Antonio Brown saga about him getting traded, and maybe they can get a higher pick. So we'll see how that goes. It's been a nightmare off season being a Steeler fan between Brown, Bell, Kevin Colbert can't keep his mouth closed and saying things to me that GM shouldn't do. That locker room sounds like it's kind of a mess. So as a fan, you hope that it looks worse than it actually is. So we'll see how that goes. Staying in football, Colin Kaepernick reportedly wants $20 million from the XFL to play football for that league. And I just, I'm not going to get into all the politics with Colin Kaepernick, but he says it's not about the money, yet he's demanding $20 million to play. And, he had a good year for sure, but that's supposedly what's going on, that he's demanding a high price. But that guy's not worth $20 million. I don't even know, and it's the XFL. It's not even the NFL. So I don't know. I could go on for hours on Kaepernick, but I'll just leave it at that. Johnny Manziel, just when you thought you were done hearing about Johnny Manziel, making the news again, but this again not good. Broke a team or league violation, and the Montreal Alouettes had to cut him. So he's teamless again, bipolar, teamless, and you just wonder, a guy that did have such immense talent, if it's all going to waste. Will he get another crack in the NFL? Rumors I'm hearing is he's probably going to head to the AAF and play there. Too late to get in the cards, though, Tops. Those things have already been, I'm sure, been printed. So I guess you could always go and print, after the fact. Tops could print a Johnny Manziel, maybe make it a short print or an insert and throw it in the packs. But I think his next stop is going to be the AAF. Cowboys got their guy back. Jason Witten is leaving the Monday Night Football booth and coming back to play tight end for the Cowboys. You rarely see that. Guys go from the booth after retiring back to the game. You see coaches do that, but I can't even really remember a player I'm sure it's not the first time. I don't think, but I can't think of another player, at least right now, that's retired, went to the booth, and then coming back out. He's not a spring chicken, obviously. 37 years old, has lost a step, but he is a great leader. Provides a lot of leadership for that team. So I'm sure they'll be better off for having him play than not. I'll be honest with you, he wasn't a great announcer, so it's probably a wise business decision because I don't think he was going to be long for on the air, regardless of whether he came back and played football. Now with him coming back and playing, it'll be interesting to see who replaces him in the Monday night booth. I'll say this. You watch the games like I do, one of the worst crews that Monday Night Football's had in a long time. I mean, it's almost to the point where I just muted the games and just watched the games without the commentary. So Jason Witten's back on the field for the Cowboys. Going back to the combine, and Kyler Murray, he's at the combine, he's just not going to throw. It looks very likely Kyler Murray is going to be a high pick and definitely going to pick in the first round. Someone's going to take a flyer on him. And there's even some reports that say he'll be the first quarterback off the board. And Oakland reportedly has their eyes set on him. So that would be an interesting maneuver if Oakland or the Raiders, we'll call them, depending on where they're playing. But it'd be interesting if the Raiders draft him. And then what do you do with Carr? Do you have Carr groom him for a year, and then when he's ready to take over? I don't know how that works. It don't seem like Carr would Derek would be open to that, in all honesty. So I don't know if the room's big enough for both of them if the Raiders got Murray. To me, if the Raiders got Murray, I think they're going to hand him the keys, and I think they're going to ship Derek Carr out some places where he may land if this all goes down like that. Miami Dolphins, Jacksonville Jaguars, those teams would probably be at the top of the list to acquire Derek Carr. Little talk on the basketball front. I know I talked about this a few episodes back with LeBron James and the Lakers, but it looks more and more sort of like that honeymoon's kind of over. Recently, there was a timeout called, and LeBron didn't even get in it and was kind of off on his own accord. And that's kind of who he's become. He's kind of become sort of a mercenary type guy. I call the shots. I know we have a head coach, but listen to me. I'm the floor general out there. Just very outspoken. Borderline rude, and just very, very full of himself. And I know when you're one of the best basketball players in the world, you're going to have some full of yourself. I understand that, but he's gotten really not good with it. So I don't know what's going to happen there. They're at risk for not making the playoffs, and honestly, I don't think anyone would have predicted that. Now, when he signed with the Lakers, everyone else was talking championship and they're going to win a title and beat Golden State. And I was the one that said, listen, they might be better, but they're not going to be that much better where they're going to knock off the Golden States and those ilk. So it'd be interesting to see how this plays out. If Anthony Davis winds up there or another one of those superstar megastars, who will be and how will affect the dynamic there. Staying on basketball, all the Luka-mania is still in full effect. And the one fringe positive benefit of the Luka-mania, and I'm kind of letting it's not really a secret, but this rookie class is pretty good. With Jaren Johnson, Trae Young, who I really like, Marvin Bagley Jr., who I really like, and I know I'm leaving people off, but this rookie class is really solid behind Luka, but Luka's so hyped and so dominating the hobby that the other guys have kind of been tossed to the wayside, so to speak. And I got to be honest with you, some of these guys, Bagley, Trae Young, I think long term, Luka's playing out of his mind right now, but I think long term, Bagley, Trae Young, those type of guys might be better than Luka over the course of a career. But the way the hobby is right now, no one's really going to know that. So I've been kind of stockpiling those guys, putting them away at the values they're at. They're super affordable, and I just think when they become perennial all-stars and that sort of thing, the market will correct itself. So don't get me wrong, Luka's a great player, probably will win Rookie of the Year, and deservedly so. But he's so dominating the hobby that people are kind of sleeping on a lot of these other rookies that are performing well as well. So guys like Trae Young, Marvin Bagley Jr., DeAndre Ayton, in Phoenix, and the list goes on and on. I talked about this year's football class maybe being the best ever or the best in a long time. Well, this year's basketball class is probably fitting that same bill as well. And I'm not even talking, obviously, just Luka. So 2018 is a good year to collect cards between the basketball, football rookie class, and even the baseball rookie class. 2018, as we all know, is Acuna, Albies, Ohtani, Glaber, Andahar. The list goes on. So 2018, I might just coin it the year of the rookies, because really across those three major sports there, football, basketball, and baseball, there's some big name rookies, some guys barring injury, they're not flukes. They're going to be, very good players, all-star level players, and obviously players that people collect in the hobby. So 2018, great rookie year.
You've been listening to the Sports Card Nation podcast. Join host John Newman next week as he gives you another jam-packed episode of all things related to the sports card hobby. And a little extra fun, too. Don't forget to check out the show on Instagram at Sports Card Nation Podcast.